goes. Here it goes. Slow. No.
Jackie. Yeah, so I was just wondering, do you need a microphone for her, or how do we want to figure out where do you want her to stand? Like in this general area? So do you,
Did I say that
should I
out
just
loud?
take this out for her? And I can, Mike, you can probably hold up the front.
Yeah, it's like my eyes. Shut it down. All right. Are we ready? Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming this evening. Please join me in a moment of silence as we remember James A. Cupoli, Sr., retired employee of the district, Hugh S. Hawthorne, a 1953 graduate, Francis Arnold, a former employee, Brianna Bielik, who attended schools in the district, David Allen, who attended schools here, and Lucille Petroff, a retired employee and former Board of Education member of the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. First item this evening, presentations by the North Syracuse Education Foundation for the grant winners. I assume, yes, there she is in the back. Jackie's here. Carolyn, too? Yes. Come on up. Uh-oh.
It's tangled up.
Out in that other cable.
I'll get it. We're good. Oh no, we're almost good. This is gonna fall down. Ah, jeez. I think we're good now. Are we good? Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Here
we're
you
good.
go.
I'll hold it like this. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us time to do this tonight. My name is Jackie Forte. I am the president of the North Syracuse Education Foundation, and I'm here tonight with the majority of our board members, our volunteers, and our students to present the grant winners for this year so that you can get a quick blurb of what is the North Syracuse Education Foundation and what do we do. The North Syracuse Education Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit. We work solely for the mission to support programming in the North Syracuse Central School District, and typically that means things that aren't included in the normal school budget. We have covered things that have been taken out of the school budget in the past, and we're really grateful to hear that this coming school budget, hopefully, if all the voters get out there and you vote yes, that the budget will be approved and that a lot of the clubs and activities that we've had to cover, which is really becoming a hardship for the foundation going on year 4, are going to be put back into the budget. We're really excited about that. But one of the biggest things that we do each year, and so you have an idea of about how much we're planning on spending for this year, is about $38,000 that we will raise. And that includes the 7 board members that we have, all of whom do not have children left in the district anymore. About 4 reliable volunteers that some have children in the district, some are retired teachers from the district or just community people of interest, and we have about 10 students in grades 8 through 12 who also work with us and help us out. We'll work really, really hard this year to try to raise that $38,000 to go forward, and one of the programs that will benefit from that is our grant program. Every year, all the teachers and staff in the district who are interested in applying for a grant can put in an application to us, and then those grants are reviewed on an annual basis, and they're awarded based on how they score, we have a process that they go through. The grants are blinded. We'll know what level they're for, if they're elementary, middle school, junior high, or high school. We won't know the specific person that put the grant application in. And we look at a whole bunch of different criteria that we review with the staff. And based on what we have budgeted and the grants that are submitted each year, we choose the winners. So tonight we're here to celebrate those people. We, first of all, want to say thank you to everybody who participated in the grant process this year. It's very difficult for us every single year. We go out there and we try to get as many questions answered in advance that we can. We try to understand what exactly it is that everybody's asking for, and then we have to pick and choose, because every year that we do get the applications, typically there are more applications or a higher dollar value than we have the money to fund. So with that being said, I would say anybody who wants to make a donation to the foundation, we have a Facebook page and we have a website, which is www.nsefweb.org. Please look us up and do that. So tonight we're going to celebrate the people who were chosen this year. And I don't want to say one, because all of the concepts were worthy of great ideas that the people in this district always consistently come up with, but that were chosen to go forward. The people who won these grants or were chosen for these grants are able to purchase the equipment now, but technically they're for use next year. So we're planning now for things that should be implemented by next year. And then at the end of the year, everybody will turn in an evaluation to us saying, hey, here's what I did. Here's how it went. Here was what went well. Here's what maybe something that didn't go so well, because things don't always go well, right? And that's okay, because it's part of the learning process. But that's how we also evaluate the grant. So everyone who's getting a grant tonight, your evaluations will be due next year by the end of the school year. And we can go into that in detail later on the side. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Carolyn. Carolyn's going to announce. Oh, you don't need a mic? Okay. Well, is this going to be
Carolyn, it won't pick up on the TV
they record it for
the recording.
So you can, I'll hold it for you.
Jackie, you want to take another mic?
I think we're, well, we can use one. I'll hold it and you can talk.
Okay. Okay, you tell me who you first.
I have this one.
Jennifer Fisher.
Oh, before we get started, if there's any of our board members and volunteers who'd like to come up and shake hands with the grant winners, I'd like to invite you to come up now. So I have our treasurer is Nat Ordway. We've got Jeremiah.
We have our
students, our Jen Murphy. Oh, and when we're done, we'd like to ask everybody to stay and go out in the lobby so we can grab a quick picture. All right.
Okay, Jennifer, come on up.
Jennifer Fisher.
Jennifer's grant is called Bringing the Lord of the Flies to Life. So this grant gives students a chance to experience the classic novel, The Lord of the Flies, through a different lens. Students will choose key scenes and act them out.
Congratulations. Oh, we have Amy Ferletti.
Amy Ferletti. Amy is not new to us. Her grant was called the Radical Math Classroom. What we're going to do is we're going to purchase a variety of tables and chairs to change the physical environment of her classroom, such as white-top tables, learning stools, round and rectangular tables. Now, the learning environment can become accessible, flexible, mobile, inspiring, and able to adapt to each student's needs.
One of the things that we wanted to point out, too, this year we got more grants for what we would consider equipment, and that's not something that we would typically fund. So a teacher that will take that equipment and write a grant around it that shows how it will impact learning in a positive way and how it will enhance education is the teacher that will get that equipment. So although we got a lot of equipment requests this year, some were really written in the way that we can see how it's going to be incorporated and the changes in the learning environment. And that goes along with the district's mission and the goals that the district has, which is to create collaborative learning spaces. So you'll see us funding things going forward, I think, that are a little bit different than you may have seen in the past. And I also wanted to mention that some of the grants are as little as maybe $300, but some of the grants this year were over $2,000 a piece. And for teachers like Ms. Verletti, who are excellent grant writers, and some of the other people who receive them year in and year out, if you look at their classroom, you're going to find, and this goes out to the board, you're going to find classrooms in this district that have received from the Education Foundation sometimes in excess of $10,000. So you should look at those classrooms to see, gee, what's going well, because that's one of the things the foundation's doing. We're kind of piloting things for you so you don't have to take that financial risk. But we're hoping that if you do see one particular math teacher, language teacher, English teacher that's really accelerating and their kids are just doing amazingly well, that you might look in there to say, gee, is there something in there that they have or that they're using that everybody else could benefit from? And then maybe we can work those things into the budget sometime in the future. So our next person is Sharon Vogt.
Hey. Her grant title was, I didn't put this in our brochure, Your Brain Can Only Absorb What Your Butt Can Endure. And what we have purchased for her are 3 standing science tables for her science classroom. And the desks will provide an option for science students to better engage during a lesson. Some like to stand and some don't. They've been sitting for like 80 minutes in like a previous class. So then they come into her class and really don't want to sit for another 80. So. There's 2 go together.
Okay, am I going to say this right? The next 2 go together. They submitted a grant as a team. Lily Zawadski and Maureen Gill.
Their grant was called Model Me Kids Video Social Skills Training. So we're buying them social skills videos, and the videos model the videos incorporate models and practice through role play. They provide examples in classrooms, lunchrooms, hallways, playground, and hallways. Videos can be used one-on-one. They can be used in small groups, and classroom social lessons for all grades. So that was a good.
The next grant winner is Lindsay Marzullo.
Okay, Lindsay is from Smith Road. I should tell what schools they were in. She wanted portable library carts. The kindergarten students in her class will be able to access and utilize categorized books in a more efficient manner. Right? You're welcome.
Actually separate grants, but they're very similar, so I'm going to take the liberty of calling both people up at the same time. People have totally separate buildings, totally separate grants. Both took their grant and wrote it from a slightly different perspective, but both involved the use of what's called. So the 2 of these together totaled about a $4,000 investment into the element. Today's day and age, arts and music. We're very happy that Melissa Petrarca and Corey Patterson submitted 2 separate great grants.
They're a little bit different. They are a little bit different. Melissa's from Roxborough. We're purchasing for her 9 ORF instruments, and she's going to use them in grades K through 4. And an ORF instrument is like a barred instrument, like a xylophone or a metallophone, and they're used to teach music and as well as make music. So she's going to do it a little bit differently. Now, Corey, hers was called Imagine, Create, and Collaborate with Music and Movement. We're purchasing for her 3 ORF instruments, 8 hand drums, and 12 dancing ribbons. And the 3rd graders in her school will use creativity, exploration, improvisation, imagination, and music knowledge to develop a music program that includes singing, speech, movement, dance, and instrument playing. So it's a little different, but
So I'd imagine now
They were
yours was
surprised.
targeted to the third grade, but that you might use.
yeah.
Kid
Yeah.
in the school will use them.
So
But
her
the third
first-
grades are putting on a
Yeah.
program, right?
Yeah, they're
A program.
put on a show.
Cicero.
Yeah.
So her approach, even though she targeted to a specific grade level for the purpose of this grant, and that's what we judged it on, we could all see that this teacher could definitely take this and most likely would take this beyond. So it shows that you can look at things in two different.
And I'm going to say these grants were well written because as a group, when we evaluate, that grant just sort of came to life for us. We could actually see and hear sort of what was going to happen with these. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So congratulations.
Congratulations. You're welcome.
So that's it for our winners this year. The only other thing I wanted to say to everybody is that we have come up with a date for our gala, which is our major fundraiser, which is going to be November 4th. It's going to be our 11th year doing this fundraiser, and our theme this year is Inspiring Excellence. And all of the grant winners tonight, you definitely have inspired excellence in our district. And some of the honorees this year who you may be familiar with are Mary Lou Frazier and Dick Bader, who both served as educators in this district. We're also honoring Jim Coral Jr. and Joan Kessel. So if you can come out that night to support the foundation, we would really appreciate it, because then we'll be able to continue to do a lot more great grants like this. So thank you to everybody on the board, and
Thank
look
you,
forward to
Jackie.
working
Thank
with
you
you
all.
more in the future.
Congratulations to all, and thank you, Jackie, and everybody on the board. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is comments from the audience. I have no names on the sheet. Next item, Board of Education Committee reports or comments. Anything, Mary?
So the policy committee met 2 weeks ago, April 11th, and we reviewed 5 policies. 4 are on tonight's agenda. One, we're recommending to amend and readopt, and that one is the physical education policy, and the other 3 we're just recommending to readopt without changes.
Thank you.
The next policy meeting is May 8th.
Legislative, Paul, anything? No new reports. Anybody else with anything? Jackie or Mike? Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what I said at our last meeting about our BOCES board member election tonight and the BOCES administrative budget. Mary and I had a chance to go down and have a presentation given to us on the budget, as well as meet the board candidates that are up for BOCES. There are 3 open seats, and they are the 3 incumbents that are running again. All very well-respected people on the BOCES board. And I'm happy with the administrative budget. I think that we have, working with BOCES, created a budget that will help serve all students that utilize BOCES services.
Thank you. Anything else? Superintendent's comments. Annette?
Just a couple of things. I do want to say congratulations to the members of the CNS Chamber Orchestra. They had a gold-winning performance. They achieved gold rating at the NISMA Zone 3 Major Ensemble Festival that was held at Fabius Pompey Middle School and High School. So congratulations to them. Very proud of them. And I know that the NSCF folks have paraded back into their meeting, but I do want to reiterate one of the things that Jake mentioned. Many of the grants that they awarded are right in line not only with our district mission, but this year, over the course of the last few months, we did quite a bit of visioning. I know Mr. involved with DEC throughout the district, and one of the themes that emerged did have to do with creating learning environments that allow for cooperation and students working together, as well as honoring differentiation and different learning styles. So I was particularly pleased with the ones that have furniture that will create those environments. Thank you to them.
Thank you. Next item, routine action items 5A, consideration of approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Education, April 10th, 2017. B, consideration of the classification and school placement of disabled students certified by the District Committee on Special Education. And C, consideration and classification of the placement of preschool disabled students certified by the District Committee on Preschool Special Education. I'll entertain a motion to approve 5A, B, and C as a group. Mr. Harrington, Mr. McClintock, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Discussion and action items. 6A, approval of the 2017-18 calendar. Annette?
So we bring this calendar to you tonight a little bit delayed because we had pulled it off the agenda for the last meeting since the State Education Department decided to create new and more interesting guidelines, I guess we should say, in terms of half-days. So thank you to the calendar committee that's made up of NSCA members and administrative members for working with me on this. We did change a couple of half-days around to meet the new guidelines, and also worked with the NSCA to allow for a superintendent's conference day to start the year off on August 31st. And all of that was due to the fact that they know I cannot live with a calendar that has less than 5 snow days. So thank you. We've, I think, managed to get all those requirements and included the 5 snow days that...
Okay. Any questions?
You can no longer have any half-days during Regents or during the last week of June and have them count towards your 180 days. So no more abbreviated days unless you've already met your 180-day requirement. And here's the big one. You can no longer do any half-days that back up to a vacation.
Because of the minimum hours in a week.
It has to do with the minimum hours in a week, but it also has to do with the fact that they're being much more strict in terms of
Okay, so is there a motion to approve the 2017-18 district calendar and provisions for school closings? Mr. Leon? Ms. Owens? All in favor? 6B, Universal Pre-K Contract with Providers. Mr. Bowles or Mr. Keegan, who's going to handle that one?
Universal Pre-K providers in the district are Learn As You Grow, and they have 2 locations, one at South Bay and one at Elta Drive in Cicero. The other is North Minster on Buckley Road. And what we've done over the last few years is we asked for them to do presentations for us every summer, but we've gone to 5-year contracts in order for them to plan and prepare for the pre-K programs instead of a year-to-year contract. And their programs, Mr. Keegan and I were there at least 3 times a year for each site to look at what they're doing, meet the regulations, and we write the grant and basically subcontract through these agencies to provide preschool education. And the Universal Pre-K program has been very popular in the district. We have about 232 slots, and our registration date will be on May 10th at the junior high, and that is done by a lottery system. So we've been very pleased with what they've done over the past few years, and this will re-up their 5-year commitment to us. At the start, we don't always have all 232 filled, but as students turn of age, then it's kind of rolling, and we'll get more and more over the summer. But our goal is to have as few on the waiting list as possible. One of the big pluses is right now with AM Universal Pre-K, full transportation busing. With the PM, self-transport, that's the biggest hurdle at this point is the transportation, because people would prefer to have as many people in the AM, but we can't accommodate all the students into that slot.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the contracts for Universal Pre-K with the Northminster Early Childhood Center and Learn As You Grow Early Education Center? Ms. Scanlon, Mr. Harrington, all in favor. 6C, election of Onondaga, Cortland, Madison, BOCES board members. The resolution is to vote in favor of Michael Murphy, representing the Liverpool Central School District, Lisa O'Reilly, representing the West Hill Central School District, and Joan Reeves, representing the Baldwinsville Central School District. As Mike had mentioned earlier, these are three incumbents for their own terms. So is there a motion to approve the resolution to vote in favor of those folks? Ms. Scanlon? Mr. Fafalia, all in favor?
I'm abstaining.
And one abstention, Mr. Maurizio. D, the approval of the 2017-18 OCM BOCES administrative budget in the amount of $7,430,000. So we have a motion to approve the resolution for us to vote in favor of that budget. Is there a motion for that? Somebody. Mr. McClintock, Ms. Owens, all in favor. Abstention from Mr. Maurizio. Surplus of marketable equipment. A motion to declare the marketable surplus, which has some value to others. One man's junk is another man's something, right? Is that how it worded out?
These two laminators are pretty low value.
Oh, boy, they're
I'm guessing
man,
we're not going to
they're
fetch
gonna
a lot of money for
They're
them.
going to be lined up at the door for those, I'll bet you right now. People can use them as a boat anchor. Okay, so is there a motion
These
to
are old.
dispose of these wonderful laminators? Do we have a motion for that? Mr. Harrington, Mr. Maurizio, all in favor? Now we have the policies that Mary mentioned earlier. Physical education for amendment and readoption, and then the visitor code of conduct for readoption, parental involvement in compensatory programs of academic intervention, support response to intervention services, and the concussion management policy. So, any further comments, Mary? Are we all set on that? Okay, you want to make the motion to approve those? Okay, she's made the motion. Over here for a second. Mr. Fafalia, all in favor? So moved. Next item, retirements. We have two on tonight's agenda. Patricia LaRose, a bus driver with 16 years of service, and Sue Meisner, a bus driver, will retire with 25 years of service. So we wish them all a happy and healthy and long retirement. Personnel reports. A, instructional personnel. B, support staff. C, administrative. Are there any questions or issues or need to separate anything here? Okay, then I'll take a motion to approve all of three personnel items as a group. Jackie Owens, Mr. Maurizio, all in favor. Now we have a motion for executive session for the purpose of receiving an update on two legal matters relative to potential litigation and to review the employment record of 12 individuals with no action to follow. Is there a motion for executive session? Ms. Scanlon, Ms. Owens, all in favor. We are adjourned to executive session. Seniors, come on up, get your form signed. See, I could have made it for a while, too.
I can see that. How are you tonight? You picked up really good meetings. Quick, right?